The quick boom and the fact that no real rental store precedent existed meant that the industry developed a unique, complex, sloppy set of tiers and layers.
What I mean by this is, it's kind of complicated.
Rental shops, of course, had to get their products somehow, but it wasn't practical for them to contact all the various video companies. Although, as a side note, that conversation did work the other way around.
My name is Walter Ruther. I was a salesman for Camp Video in 1987.
At Radon, I started with my main focus being telemarketing sales. I would either cold call what were then thousands of mom and pop video stores.
It was a phone room, so we would call video stores.
Let them know of our upcoming releases and see if there were any holes that they needed to fill.
Basically try to get the Camp Video products in their store.
I didn't feel particularly hounded, though, by those people. Did you?
Sometimes.
We'd call up all these video stores and we'd offer them a 3-pack, and it was a buy two, get one free deal. And essentially it was Hollywood chainsaw hookers. And then you could throw in a title of your choice, like Gourmet Zombies, Chef from Hell, and then we'd always throw in The Psychic for free because that was our worst movie.
But wholesalers, a standard part of most retail industries, fulfilled the need of easier acquisition of store stock.
Back then, there were about 6 major wholesalers for VHS. There was
Comtron,
there was Ingram,
Baker and Taylor,
a bunch of them like that.
Hold it right there. We typically think of a theatrical release, no matter how limited, being so much more prestigious that it was used as a selling point to later support a home video release. But there was one place where the theatrical release was merely a tool to catch the eye of the wholesaler, proving that the home video release really had become the ultimate end goal.
One of the places you always had to play was Des Moines, Iowa. Everybody had to play Des Moines, Iowa. There were top 10 markets. Like you would think it would be LA, it would be Chicago, it would be New York. Des Moines, Iowa. Because that was the hub. That was the hub for distribution. And if they saw your film playing in a theater.
And it even became its own racket.
So what happens in Des Moines, Iowa? You pay the theaters to play your film. They don't pay you. No matter how much that movie makes, they keep it. You pay them. There were movie theaters that opened in Des Moines, Iowa that did nothing, but they were only there to play movies for people who were willing to pay them to play.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Taking form in its own messy fashion, the video industry had a whole other layer of middlemen.
these other subbies, and there was about 25 of them, and they were really small little phone rooms all over the country. And they would take your movies. They would buy, it was one-way sale, and they would take anywhere from 50 to 100 pieces, 150, depending on the movie.
The customers started all coming in that were looking for unusual things, and what about this, and what about that, and you know, so there was no internet. We had a wish list of a lot of movies that we couldn't find anywhere, and even at that time there were movies that had been available for a short time and then
Labels that went out of print.
And so there were already these used tape brokers. Our used tape, Norman, Video Oyster was his company.
He was a colorful character from what we could
He had like a Hawaiian shirt business going, and we always wondered if he was really a drug dealer. We would call him, we're looking for this Japanese import of El Topo or something. We would pay sometimes, you know, $150, and he would find it.
The regional van guys got in between the video store and the wholesalers. And they would just get a hold of whatever they could to sell, whether it be adult films, hardcore XXX B movies, studio movies that were 30 to 60 days old. That were, some stores would buy too many copies and they would take so many off of them and take them to other stores where they might rent better. So the van guys basically went around from store to store to the independent mom and pop stores with basically a pickup truck full of a variety of tapes that they would offer them at a pretty inexpensive rate. If a store was going out of business, they would buy a bunch of tapes. And that's how a lot of the independent stuff kind of got mixed in with studio stuff and the adult films with these van guys that would drive around. And they would cover 300-400 mile radius